Hirsch and her daughter Nicolette Hirsch, and we are going to talk about talking, but I wanted to start by first with Julie talking about how asking how it has been going this week with remembering back, and you used the term prison for when you were in autism with no communication. And are those memories to go back to how it was easy, hard, or something else?
Hard.
And is that because that time in your life was easy or hard, or was it because you have to go back to suddenly understanding that you were Julie, or something else?
No, I just begin and end with Julie now, so going back into autism will not be good for me now.
Yeah. So to try to do something to maybe help others get out, though, we are going back and talking about your story, and then that is a lot of remembering that is very difficult.
I don't know why I got out or how I got out, so I feel helpless in this because I don't know how I could help in this. I almost feel like perhaps the people who are talking now, like who are still like locked in autism, like say be Sue Rubin or Jamie, who are like in autism but talking somewhat, because I don't have a lot of my senses on constant on, like they are still like so, but much like a shadow of what they were before when I was young, like young child person. See, and if they were strong like they were as a young child person, then I don't think I'll be able to do like what I do now.
So it's important to keep making progress and keep things either the same or going forward?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is that my senses alleviated.
Yes.
As I go, if I remember back to a time, things that be like a discomfort now or that I could manage through now or navigate through now are not things I would have been able to do so when as a younger child person. I don't know why some of the things alleviate, because other people I know of are still dealing with it on a like same as they were as a child person, as an adult. And I am grateful that autism released its hold on me to an extent where I could like have it as a constant reminder, like a shadow, but that I am master of it and it's not master of myself. See?
And that would be things like how now you can do things like if you need to stim in your mind, most of the time you can do that instead of having to do it on the outside where typical people or normals might get scared.
I can't do that all the time, but I can, yes, do that somewhat, but not too much. Just, my OCD and other things I could do sometimes in my head, in my imagination of a universe, and I could move from one to the other, somewhat like because autism is not as strong a grip on myself as it was once before, so I could shift gears more easy or go in and out more easy, sort of like autism. Forgot it left the door open, and I could like go in and out, and not can't say with ease, but I could go in and out where once I could not go out.
Now, like today, we were having breakfast, and we went to a restaurant you've been to many times.
Yes.
But they had rearranged all the tables in one room. So when you were more in your autism state, what would you have done, and what did you do differently today to deal with it?
If I did things like when I was younger,
yeah,
then it would be a place brand new, foreign.
mm-hmm.
And this would cause anxiety because it will become chaos. So even if it's the same place, the edges are not where they are, so you don't know where you're at there or what is happening there, or where, like, you just landed on the moon almost. See, that's how everything feels like brand new, but like not just brand new, but like foreign, like I just landed on Mars or so. And this would be like would normally cause great panic, see. And now I have where I get that panic, and then I have, but I see that, and I see like two things, like I see all the blurs and that disconcerting feeling of being transported somewhere completely different. And at the same time, I also have the sense of it being a familiar place just shifting about a little bit. Both of it happens all at once.
So when you go to a place where your expectations for it to be one way and then it is changed around, if you can't do a big stim in public, what do you do instead? You do something inside your head?
I could do that now.
And what is that?
Because I just rearrange it in my head. But if I was still locked in autism, I won't be doing that.
What would you be doing if you were locked in autism?
It would be a foreign thing, a foreign environment. It would be complete chaos. And then there is not much I could do about that.
And how would you, if it was complete chaos and you were locked in autism, what would you do to cope or to calm yourself, if you could? What would you try to do?
Anything that I can, but
would it be
everything could become like a nightmare to you if there are changes, because it's hard to explain.
What is the nightmare for a typical person to know what the nightmare is? Is that change and chaos?
Like if you're in a nightmare, right, or you're in a dream, and nothing in that dream is doing what it was supposed to be doing. Say, for example, birds are swimming and water is floating, and there's a train going through your living room, and all of this is happening in like you in a dream. See, now think of it as not being a dream, but like living in that terrain all the time, like you're living every day in a Salvador Dali painting, but that is every day almost.
And what is there anything you can do when you're living in the nightmare to? Does sleeping help? Does closing your eyes help? Does anything help?
Yeah, I did close my eyes. I do whatever I can, or I focus on small things to calm myself a little bit, or to make sense of little things, little by little by little by little. But of course, everything changes. So as much as you organize to make sense of what's happening, you know, everything shifts and change happens, and then you're starting all over again from scratch. And it's such a hard, because once you're organizing, everything changes all over again, and then you have to start all over. So you're never done with just this part, because something else is coming in, and that's something new you have to sort through and organize. And it never ends.
So, like as an example, when you came the other day, I'm going to turn the camera towards the candies on the coffee table. I had seen that you had made a really beautiful pattern with them. And when I knew you might be coming back, I thought maybe I should leave them the same way.
You didn't, though. They were messy.
There was some people here who came to clean, and they moved some things. But in a perfect world, the best, like if they are this way now and you leave, and if you were to come back here, like if I was staying here more days, would it be important to have leave these alone like this to help you feel more comfortable here?
I will notice, but it does not cause the great anxiety.
But if I were to move around furniture a lot,
yes,
that would be nuts.
Yes, I would not like you moving the furniture, no.
And what would you have to do to help yourself?
I would want to move the furniture back. I would have to reintroduce myself to the environment, like it was a brand new room.
So that must be something that happens a lot in your life.
All the time.
Yeah. And was a big part of becoming free from autism being able to find ways to cope with all the change that is typical or normal people would unwittingly do that all the time and not maybe realize how upsetting it is. But it happens all the time, so you must have had to do things to get used to it somehow, or else you would still be in that autism prison.
You don't seem to understand. Once I was asthmatic, then my lungs got stronger and I don't have asthma anymore. It wasn't anything I did to cope. It was just something that, like autism, fell asleep, and when it collected all of its collections, it forgot me.
That is a very insightful thing to say.
So I don't know if I can help, because I never really felt like it was something I learned to cope from, but that autism fell asleep on me and I wandered away in the night. And
it also sounds like you did something important, because you said when it put away, I think maybe I'm saying it wrong, but you said something like it put away all the collections.
It put away its collections, but it forgot me.
Yeah, because it had enough with the collections to not have to keep being with you.
No, it's always with me.
Okay.
But like a shadow nipping on my heels.
Instead of like around you from top to bottom and inside and out?
Instead of being wrapped up tight in its fist, it just snaps at my heels as I run 2 steps ahead of it.
That's makes me think of...
It's a difference. It's with living with a form of autism all the time and living tight in it. It's a difference when it no longer rules you than when it did. Because I don't remember then how.
It sounds like when you've talked before that communication was a big part of helping to get out of the fist. and having it more nipping at your heels instead of you being inside a fist. Because with communication,
I was part of everything.
and with communication you became a separate self sometimes.
Yes, sometimes.
And did you become more or the same of yourself when you went from typing to intentional speech?
I became more of myself. This was when loneliness came.
And was it the same or more when intentional speech became part of your communication?
Intentional speech was a way of integrating into this world once I integrated into myself.
Mm-hmm. So
Because autism is not a nice place to stay in when you begin and end with one person. It is a big, beautiful place, but I don't know why. Then, when it becomes like a prison, then it became a prison when I became a person. I was always a person, but I just became one person. The Julie person is where I began and ended.
yes.
So this is when autism became a prison.
And then the way to come out was through speech, or was typing also helpful?
The will, the desire to adjust in the world, see?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're like slipping into like one world and two worlds. In one world, you don't care too much about what happens.
Dolphin, do you want your drink? Come here, sweetie.
Don't know. We got to go soon. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it back on the table. We will. I'm keeping very careful track of time.
Okay.
So in autism, you came out to communicate with the world in stages. You had some very brief intentional speech at 9. Then at 12 you began typing. So on the one hand you're more defining or learning about self, but with typing more and everybody understands all of a sudden that the typing is because you're intelligent. It's not just a game or a pattern, it's also communication.
The typing made me begin and end with Julie more and more and more and more.
And what about speech?
Speech did not do that for me for a long time.
What did speech do at first?
Not much.
Was that when you were just more repeating words?
Yes, but I only had that